And I think people can kind of underestimate their previous skills, right? Whether they're at home managing kids, whether they're a teacher, whether they were a welder. Like, I mean, there's so many things that they deal with that so many other people don't deal with when it comes to, Salesforce and admin. Like, especially now that I'm kind of in the position where we're looking to hire more people. So I'm starting to look at those skills like Salesforce admin, like it's not even a requirement for me right now, right? It's just like I want to see how you communicate. I want to see your past skills, and if you're just open to learning, right? Like if people try building a blog, or especially if they tried starting a business, I mean, it's really interesting to try and find people that way, because teaching people Salesforce admin, like getting that certificate, like you can do that to anyone who wants to learn that, right? It's those other skills that you can't teach, right? Like can they write, can they communicate, can they get the information that you need? My career before this one, I was working in municipal government in the agriculture division. So working with farmers, helping them with their crops and diseases, and a bunch of kind of roadside maintenance kind of programs. I would supervise about 15 seasonal workers throughout the year. So lots of hiring and managing and things like that. Started transitioning into a bit more management roles. With those management roles kind of came more responsibility, longer hours, a little more stress. And it just wasn't quite the direction I was hoping for. It's kind of a natural progression, which most people go through. But I mean, given the pandemic, we were starting to be given the opportunity to work from home a little bit more. And that really grabbed me. I really enjoyed that. And I found I was getting a lot more work done in a lot less time without having to commute, especially given I have a young family and all that. So I was kind of at a crossroads of if I was going to continue down that road into more manager, supervisor, director positions and continue that way, or if I was going to make a change and do something different. And that's when I decided to look into Salesforce. I started just learning that in the evenings after working and putting the kids down. I would do that for an hour or two every night, more as a hobby than anything. And then once I actually landed my certification is when I decided to actually join the Talent Stacker program, because I mean, that's when I needed help to actually land a job and get experience, because those were the two things I wasn't able to do on my own. So getting the certification was certainly not the hump or the issue for me. It was trying to get the interviews and trying to get experience, like I said. So that's why I jumped into the program, and it really helped me kind of accelerate that. First off, through Bradley and his podcast with Choose FI. I think a lot of us do. I heard it on there. The first time I heard it, it sounded too good. And honestly, at that point, Brad was just telling his story, right? Like he didn't build anything yet. He was just saying, what he done and what he did with his family. And, as far as our lives go, like we were in a very similar position with a young child and all that, and working from home. So I kind of skipped that until I started working from home, and then I actually re-listened to the episode and actually looked into it. Once he actually started the Talent Stacker program is when I started looking a little more seriously into it. So that's how I found out about it and got into it. And like it was a free thing to start learning, right? So that's why I started it, and just really complemented my skill set of working with computers and dealing with people. So that's kind of why I kept going down that road. With my experience with the products, it was the first time I was actually talking to anybody else about Salesforce. Up until this point, I was working through my own orgs and struggling by myself. So the first time I actually scheduled calls to work with people and have kind of a leader kind of correct some issues and help kind of guide you. So it was really nice to be able to work with other people, to see that, people are struggling with this too, and, not professionals off to start, but yeah. And then just to be able to put something on your resume to say that you had a project, you build those page layouts even, or record types. It's like those really simple things that, you click through on a trailhead, but like when you're actually getting customer requirements, it just feels different, right? It's not so guided. It's just not so structured. It just feels a lot more real. And I mean, that real world experience is very valuable. It was really intimidating. A lot of resumes and a lot of cover letters that went unanswered. The position I got, I think, was one of the only callbacks I got. And it was a couple interviews that went well. It was a live demonstration of some Salesforce stuff, and then more of a personal interview, and like the owner of the company. It was pretty clear to me that he was hiring for like the right person, the personality. He wasn't hiring on the fact that I could, perform Salesforce perfectly on the spot in front of him, because he's aware that he can teach that. So my experience with that was very good. It was a really good interview process, and kind of showed me that, I don't need to have 3 or 4 interviews, and I don't need to send someone home with a 2-page report of figuring things out in Salesforce. Like, there's more important skills that I'd be looking for. So it was quite eye-opening for me to try and get in there, and I had a second child coming too, so I was kind of under the gun to try and get something done, because I wasn't going to have too much time to be applying for jobs after that. So I mean, I'm just really grateful to get it when I did. One of the best things I got from Talent Stacker was how to set up a web video, and like your background and all that, microphone there, because I never thought about that, right? Like, I would just have my laptop down by my waist and flip up the computer, and it would, like, I wouldn't think about it, right? Because it's like, well, it's just a camera. But like the first thing that my interviewer said to me was just like, like, oh, it looks really good where you're at. And I'm like, yeah, it does look really good where I'm at, right? And when someone's interviewing you, like, that's also going to be the first impression of the clients of you as well, right? And like, we don't get to shake hands, we don't get to give high fives right now. So like, that first impression is going to be how you set that up. So that was a big takeaway for me. And two things come to mind with that. The first thing is just the community. So like you're expecting information and kind of trails from Talent Stacker itself, and you get that, but then the ability to connect with people on LinkedIn or in the Facebook groups and all that, I kind of underestimated how powerful those connections would be. The other thing I didn't realize was the continued support once you do get a job. With Talent Stackers, you get certified, you get a job, okay, see you later. And it's not that at all, right? Like, I'm still going back there, learning how to do flows and different kind of little courses that they have, and then there's continued support beyond that. So I mean, 6 months into my job, past landing my job, I'm still going back to it to learn, right, and connect with people. So it's kind of like, I kind of looked at it as like a start and stop course, where it seems to just be a continuous database of knowledge that you can go back to find people or find information. And like, when it comes to Salesforce, and it's just so nice to have the community to go to that is committed to this and has a strong interest like you do, right? So definitely disbelief, but just disbelief in the fact that I haven't heard of this thing, 6 or 8 months ago, and now all of a sudden I'm getting an offer on it for kind of an equivalent amount of money, but I get to work from home now, right? And like, talk with my wife how nice it was for me to work from home in the winter. There's like, well, wouldn't that be nice if that could always happen? And then I get that offer. It's like, well, because I had a really steady job, and I had my next 5-10 years planned for me, right? And to get that offer was really just kind of a decision that, I'm going to take a really serious detour here and try and make things better for the future, right? And and I think, in like 2 or 3 years, like, I think this is gonna be a really good decision. And I think I was just surprised at how quickly I realized that was a good decision. I mean, it was only about a weekend, and it just felt like the right decision so quickly, right? And how quickly I forgot about my other job and career that I worked so hard for. But I mean, I didn't lose the skills that I gained from it. I didn't lose the friends I lost from it. So it's just been an amazing journey to be able to make that transition, and it just feels so amazing to be where I am now. And it's just really grateful that I listen to podcasts and I try and better myself. And it was such a clear, actionable way to make your life better, right? Like change your career by doing this and putting this putting a little bit of money towards it. And I mean, I have 6 years of university. I've never seen any kind of cost benefit ratio like that before, that turns it around so quickly, right? Usually I spend 4 or 5 years studying for a degree and then trying to get a job, and this was just like, we need people in it now. I was the first hire actually out of for our company, so it was just a startup, which is kind of added to the being a bit nervous to sign on with it, because like, what am I getting myself into? But my boss was going through interviews. He was posting jobs and he wasn't getting much traction on it. The people who were applying they weren't certified, or they just weren't a fit. And that's actually when I just went to the Talent Stacker. There's just a spreadsheet in Talent Stacker where you can filter where people are from. So I just filtered people from Canada and started reaching out to people that way. And luckily the next person who applied was from Talent Stacker, and then we interviewed her, we liked her and hired her. And ever since then, you know, like when you start to look into the side of recruitment, it's a very difficult industry to try and find people to come work for that'll be a fit, and that, you know, you absolutely know that they have that background. It's not very often you get that guarantee that someone has that experience, right? Like, how often do people bloat up their resume with, you know, experience in this and proficient is that? It's like, I don't know that, right? Like when someone comes to the Talent Stacker program, it's like, I know you worked on a project, and I know, like, I absolutely know that, right? And I know you have resources to learn. So it was about that point that my supervisor kind of made the decision to not exclusively, but kind of give first dibs to people from Talent Stacker who are applying, because it's just, you know, it's people who have made the time and financial commitment to learn this thing that would really make you believe that they're going to continue to make that commitment to learn it in the future, right? So yes, it's about them learning the program and learning Salesforce, but you know, this person can work with others. You know that they have made financial and a time commitment to learn this, so they are serious about this, right? So you can at least know that they're going to be serious about working for your company and trying to be respectful of it that way.